Hey everybody, it's time for our, this is going to be our second lesson in the still life category that we're doing for the month of August. And you may have seen the post I just shared, a photo. I've got my still life set up behind the camera. I'm going to turn this camera down and start showing you how I would draw this. But basically, just like last time, I'd set up your still life from life, because there's so much more that you see when it's in person, because a camera lens flattens out a lot of things. And if you've never experienced that, I really would love for you to try it out. Don't mind the dog here behind me. I was trimming Charlie, and I do it in stages, so there's more to do, so I didn't bother vacuuming yet. I just realized that's showing. Anyway, I took a picture of my setup and converted it to, I duplicated it and then converted one of the pictures to this grayscale image, and put a grid on it, and I've got a 8x10 drawn out on this piece of paper. It's going to be easier for me to show you the elliptical hack with Sharpie marker on plain paper. So let's get started on that. I know a lot of people have a hard time with drawing an elliptical, and I wanted to make sure we covered that in this whole unit. So let me just tag you guys, get you guys in here. Hopefully you can come check this out. If not now, some other time. Okay, so I tagged everybody, and now I'm going to just turn the camera down and upside down so that you can see all this goodness. All right, so let's do it this way, right? Okay, so the nice thing about using a grid like this is that it's very easy to place your subject in there. It makes it a lot easier to draw. And of course, I've got it basically coming off of this point right here. You know, you always want to use a 9 square grid, and you want your center of interest, you know, somewhere around one of these places where the grid lines intersect. So it looks like if I start in this center square, I want to place the bowl and I want to place the elliptical. So I'm basically going to kind of rough that in really quickly. Let's rough the bowl in first. You always want to draw the biggest items first. And so this tick line here, the back of the bowl, is, I'm looking at where it is in relation to this square. It's right about here. I'm just going to put tick marks for now. The front of the bowl, it's about the same distance from that grid line. And then what I'm noticing is that the space in between is bigger than these two parts. And that looks about right on my tick mark thing here. So then I'm going to look at where is the bottom of this part of the bowl in relation to this square, and it's about halfway. So I'm going to put a tick mark there. And then there's this bottom rim thing, which is, I don't know, maybe about this deep. Just another tick mark. I'm kind of approximating where the center of the bowl is this way too for my tick mark. You know, just rough. Then I want to see where the left edge is in relation to this square, and it's right about here, I would say. This one is a little further over. It's a little more than half. So something like that. Okay, so now I can basically draw a rectangle of just the elliptical. I don't know if you can kind of see it there, but that's what I'm going to put in here. I'm going to put a rectangle for that entire ellipse. Okay, and then I'm going to draw in the bowl roughly. So I see right here there's a little tick. Sometimes that can be a nice way to get something in there. And this is going to come up about like this. I'm going to look for where this point hits the left side and find this center point, and it's about here roughly. It's not the center height-wise of this rectangle, and I'm going to draw a line for that too across this rectangle. So at the same point on the other side is where it's going to come off this way. And angles can be really hard. You can always do one side and then flop it and trace it or something if you wanted to, or do a little template. The other trick you can do is to just turn it upside down. So I'm looking at the square, seeing this shape right here. Just doing light lines. This is right about here, I'm guessing. It's a slight angle to it. And then on this side it would be roughly here. Sometimes these grid lines can be so distracting. Oh, I can't erase that because that's marker. I think it might be right on that line actually. But sometimes what I'll do is I'll turn it upside down to see if it looks right. So I'm going to do that now. And it looks visually pretty even one side to the other. Maybe not here though, it doesn't look even. If it's a really important job, you can always you know, just trace this half, use tracing paper, flop it over, draw the other half. But I think that's good enough. Okay, so I kind of have the bowl in there. It looks pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. And now I'm going to draw the ellipse in. So like we said before, this line here of the rectangle, can you see that well enough? You know what, let me draw this in now with marker so it's a lot more visible. Because I don't know, I don't think it's real visible. Sorry about the, my air conditioner is going. My husband is just getting out of the shower, and so, I mean, even though when I'm in the basement, I don't need the air on, of course, it's very cool down here, but you know how it is when you get out of the shower, you're hot and sweaty? It shouldn't be that way, but okay. So now here's the hack of what we're gonna do. So this was my original tick mark for the front of the bowl. This is my tick mark for the back of the bowl. What we're gonna do, this is where the ellipse falls, right? And what we're gonna do in this ellipse, hey Teresa, is we're gonna divide this rectangle into 3 parts. And I think it, oh, it's 6 1/4. So that's gonna be roughly 2 1/16 or so for each tick. So something like this. You know, it doesn't have to be super, super accurate, but okay. And I'm gonna draw a box for that. So whatever it is, you know, if you're looking at an ellipse at about the same angle that we've got here, you can divide your ellipse rectangle into thirds, okay? And then you're gonna draw an X from one corner to the other on the 2 ends. So I'm just going to draw an X in this side now. And I'm doing this with marker on paper so you can see it. What I would be doing on my actual canvas when I'm drawing this is I'd be using pencil, or I would be using diluted paint. Okay, so now I'm going to do the same thing on my drawing. And I don't know if you can see that. I'm just going to do this is drawn on in pencil, but here's my box. Here's this box. And then we're going to draw an X in here and an X in here. Okay, so now I can look at this shape. It'll give me a reference point on here that I'm going to match. So right away I can see that it's about, you know, what I can do is put a dot right on this point on the X. So it's right about here. Same thing for the front of the bowl. The tick is right about here. And what you see happening is that the bowl, it touches the top of the rectangle right where the tip of this X touches the corner. So I want to just connect this from here to here with a soft curve. Same thing on this side. Find where it is. Now on this side I got a lemon in there, so it's going to be a little bit different. I can't really see all of that, so I'm actually going to put the lemon in, and it looks like there's a tick right about here. And I can actually use this as my reference point for my lemon. You know, that's how this whole thing works. This comes right about like this, something like this lemon, right? And so right about here is the front of this. It comes up, it touches the bowl rim right about, I'm gonna say here. And so I just draw a nice curve right there. Same thing with this. And I mean, this is almost a straight line, but there is a very, very subtle curve to it. So sometimes what I'll do to make it easier, I have to turn it a little bit sideways just to get this really subtle curve there. It's much easier with your wrist doing it this way than having it this way, you know. And then I'm going to connect this right here, right? So it looks like it's right about here. And then I'm going to connect it to the back. Now there is a thickness to the bowl, so we need to get that on there. So I'm going to put the thickness right there. It's thicker right on the halfway point, and then it gets thinner right away and kind of flattens out in the front and in the back. Okay, so let me draw that in marker so it shows a little bit more. Start with where the end of it is, draw the thickness in like that, and then you connect it okay, same thing with the back. My hand was a little unsteady there, but you can still see it, I think. Okay, and then the bowl kind of comes down. There's a little bit of a lippy thing there. But try not to make it too complicated, just a simple, just simplify that shape as much as you can. And this doesn't show back there, so I really don't even need to do that. Okay, same thing on this side now. I'm going to draw the thickness of it, and then I'm just going to connect it. I'm going to turn it this way. It's like I say, it's easier. Oops, this way. Very subtle. Same thing with this. Oh, hand got a little shaky there. Okay, and then this goes back behind here. I'm gonna kind of put my lemon in. I'm gonna leave just a bit of the inside of the bowl showing, just a tiny bit. Okay, so there's that side. So isn't that a cool hack? It really helps having that as a guide, that X in there on the ends to help you put your little pinpoints in there and all that. All right, so then we're going to do this. And then the bottom of the bowl is about like this. Gets a little bit wider in the front. Something like that. Okay, so there's my bowl. And so then the lemon, it looks like it's right about here. Just roughing in that shape using my guidelines. Same thing with this one. The next one comes up from here. There's a little triangle. The point where it comes down is right about here. And then it comes down to maybe here. Oh my goodness, they're here mowing. I can't believe it. This one comes in about here. Shoot. Sorry, guys. Oh, this is over further than I thought. Actually, I made this come down a little too low. See that now? I didn't see it before. Then this comes in right around here. Okay, this is about here. And there's this whole shadowy thing. So then the shadow halftone is about like this. I'm going to actually draw that in on here. And on the bowl, again, it's hard to see it on the bowl, but I'm going to put it somewhat close to where that is. Wow, I really don't see a line, but I'm going to do something like that. So anyway, that's drawn in now. And here's the same thing on my canvas. So that's how I drew that in there. I used my a rectangle right on the ellipse part and drew the lemons in. So you know what? I think I'm gonna cut this short and come back on when they're gone. I have to go run and put a paycheck out for him anyway. So I'm gonna come back on in about 15-20 minutes and we'll paint this. I hope you don't mind. So sorry. It'll be better, then we won't have to hear him. So, okay, that's, at least this part is the drawing hack, and hopefully that was all pretty clear. Turn this the right way. Oh, it is the right way, isn't it? I can never tell. Yeah, it is the right way. Okay, so I'll see you in a bit.